Yeah, it's only two of us left, right? George Brown and myself.
Yes.
We love Charles Smith, Ricky West, Clifford Adams.
That their interest was more worrying about making the money than
brand, than
a guy who been here since the label was gonna drop you guys in the 70s.
Remember Kool and the Gang? Try not to gasp when you see them today. 7 friends from Jersey City who conquered the world with celebration and ladies' night. But something terrible happened on New Year's Eve that changed everything.
I'm not gonna say the names right now, but there was one. It was like 5 for us, 1 for Kool the Gang. Where'd the rest of them go? Out the back door, man, come on. But that was the business back then, you know.
The music industry was stealing from them, but that was just the beginning of their problems.
I get a call from his wife, and she tells me, your brother passed.
Members started dying one by one under mysterious circumstances. By 2025, only 1 original member is left standing. The others are gone, and he now controls everything. So what exactly happened? Kool and the Gang was a famous band, but behind the scenes, things were not always smooth. Robert "Kool" Bell was the leader of the group. He made many big decisions, but not everyone agreed with his leadership style. Some band members felt he had too much control. Others thought he made choices that hurt the group. His leadership affected the band's success, but it also caused problems. At first, the band worked as a team. Everyone played a part, and decisions were made together. But as they became more famous, things changed. Robert Bell took charge of many things, and his word became final. Some members felt left out. They wanted to have more say in the group's future, but Robert made it clear that he was the leader. This created tension. Some members stayed quiet because they did not want to argue. Others spoke up, but their opinions were not always heard. The disagreements became worse when Kool and the Gang started making more money. At first, everyone shared the success equally, but later, some members felt that Robert had more power over the money. He decided how the band's earnings were used. Some members felt they were not getting their fair share. They worked hard, performed in concerts, and helped make the band famous, yet they felt like they were treated as less important. This caused frustration among them.
The success became big within a 1 to 2 year period that it consumed us in a way.
J.T. Taylor, the lead singer, had his own struggles with Robert Bell's leadership. When J.T. joined in 1979, Kool and the Gang was already making music, but they were not superstars yet. With J.T. as the lead singer, the band became much more successful. His voice helped create hit songs like Ladies' Night and Celebration.
Your party with you, come on now.
Fans loved his singing, and the band reached new heights. As JT became the face of the band, things started to change. In the early days, all members traveled together and shared everything equally. But after the band became famous, JT received special treatment. He flew first class while other members still flew coach. He had his own car while others did not. He got more attention from the media, and people started seeing him as the most important member of the group.
When the tension started happening, I started having my own car. Stuff like that happened.
This created tension between JT and the band, even though the other members never told him directly that they were upset. He could feel it. Some people outside the band made comments, telling him not to act bigger than the group. JT felt like people wanted to put him in his place. This made him uncomfortable. He was not trying to take over the band. He was just doing his job. But the more famous he got, the more distant he felt from the other members.
Well, when it was time for me to make my exit, it had reached a height where that type of tension had gotten too much, and I didn't think that they were had my back anymore.
The breaking point came on New Year's Eve in Atlantic City. JT was very sick that night. He had the flu and his body was weak. He weighed only about 150 pounds from all the touring. But New Year's Eve was a big night for the band. They were getting paid a lot of money, so canceling the show was not an option. JT pushed himself to perform even though he was not feeling well.
I had the flu and I was really sick. And of course, back then I was about 150, you know what I mean? Soaking wet.
When he got on stage, he struggled to sing. His voice was almost gone. When he tried to perform Cherish, something strange happened. He closed his eyes and saw nothing but red. It was not an object, just a red wall in his mind. It scared him, but he kept singing. Then it happened again. He did not understand what was going on. JT knew he could not continue. He walked backstage and told the band to play another song so he could recover.
And I got scared to death, man. And I was able to walk backstage and I pulled Kool off of somebody. I said, listen, play Jungle Boy, Hollywood Swing or something. Let me go back here and get myself together.
But he never felt better. He had to leave the stage. Backstage, fans and family ran to check on him. They knew something was wrong. But none of the band members came to see him, except Curtis, one of the musicians. Curtis told the others, "Can't you see he is sick?" But no one else seemed to care.
And all my family was at the audience. You know, they ran backstage. People, even fans were coming back saying, you know, what's wrong? What happened? They knew something was wrong. Because I've never been like this. And I'm sitting in my room and none of the guys came over to see how I was doing except one guy, Curtis.
That moment changed everything for JT. He realized that the band was more focused on making money than on him as a person. He had spent years helping the band stay successful, but when he needed support, they were not there for him. He felt like just another worker instead of a valued member of the group. That night, he called his family and said, "I can't do this anymore." He knew it was time to leave.
Their interest was more worrying about making the money than a guy who been here since the label was gonna drop you guys in the 70s.
Leaving was difficult. JT had been part of music groups since he was a teenager. He was used to working with others. Now he had to stand alone. It was a scary thought, but he was ready to move on. He met Gerald Busby, a music executive, who gave him advice. Gerald told him, "You don't need to be at Motown. You need to talk to Clive Davis." Clive Davis was a big name in the music industry. When JT met him, Clive played That's What Friends Are For, a song by Stevie Wonder, Whitney Houston, and Luther Vandross. JT could tell that Clive believed he had the talent to sing at that level. He felt excited about the future. But when MCA Records offered him a better deal, he signed with them instead.
Make a long story short, MCA offered me more money, you know, and so I ended up signing with MCA over there.
JT released his first solo album, Master of the Game, in 1989. He wanted to make music that was different from Kool and the Gang. But working alone was harder than he expected. He was used to writing songs with a team. Now, he had to do everything himself. He realized that he did not know as much about structuring songs as he thought. He could write lyrics and melodies, but he was not a trained musician. He had to learn how to complete songs on his own. Another challenge was that people expected him to sound like Kool and the Gang. But JT wanted to try something new. He wanted to explore different styles of music. This made things difficult. The record label wanted him to stick to the old sound. JT had to find a balance between what he wanted and what the industry expected. Meanwhile, Kool and the Gang continued without JT. They replaced him with a new singer, but the magic was not the same. The band still performed, but they never reached the same level of success. Robert Bell remained the leader, but some members still felt unhappy with how things were run. Over time, some members left, while others stayed and accepted the way things were. Kool and the Gang started in the 1960s. They became famous in the 1970s for their fun, energetic music. Their songs mixed funk, jazz, and soul. They used many brass instruments, which gave their music a unique sound. Their early songs, like Jungle Boogie and Higher Plane, were loud and exciting. These songs made people want to dance. Even though their music had strong beats, it still felt smooth and relaxed. Their style was different from James Brown, who had a more aggressive funk sound. Kool and the Gang's music felt like a party, full of joy and celebration. As the years passed, the band changed their sound. They wanted to keep up with the times and stay popular. By the late 1970s, disco was taking over the music world. Kool and the Gang wanted to compete with other big disco artists. They started working with Eumir Deodato, a famous Brazilian producer. He had worked with artists like Antonio Carlos Jobim and Astrud Gilberto. Deodato had a very organized way of making music. He liked structure and wanted the band to follow clear rules. But the band loved to experiment with different sounds. They wanted to add rock and roll and other styles. This caused problems between them and Deodato. Deodato thought the band's songs were too complicated. He believed they had too many parts. He wanted them to be simpler and more focused. He even joked that one of their songs could be turned into 10 different songs. The band was not happy about this change. They wanted to keep their original style, but they also knew they needed to adapt if they wanted to stay successful. The late 1970s was a huge time for dance music. Kool and the Gang had to find a way to fit in. With Deodato's help, they changed their music to be simpler and more danceable. This new sound led to their 1979 hit, Too Hot.
It's too hot, too hot, lady.
In this song, the horns were almost silent. The rhythm was smooth and steady. The song told the sad story of a high school love ending. It was different from their earlier high-energy music. But over the years, there were disagreements in the band about how to manage things and what direction their music should take. This was common for a group that had been together for so long. Sometimes not everyone agreed with the choices that were made. After the gang changed their style because they wanted to keep up with the trend, they added female singers and string instruments in albums like The Force and Everybody's Dancin'. Some fans did not like this change. They missed the old funk sound that made the band famous. Some music critics also said the new music was not as exciting as before. Even though some people did not like the new sound, the band had their first big success. Their album, Wild and Peaceful, became a hit. It reached number 33 on the charts and sold over 500,000 copies. The band kept making hits with their next album, Light of Worlds. One of the songs, Summer Madness, became a fan favorite. In 1974, Kool and the Gang performed on the famous music show Soul Train. This helped them reach more people. In 1975, they added a new musician, Larry Gittins, and released another album, Spirit of the Boogie. The title song became a hit and entered the top 40 charts. They followed with another album, Love and Understanding, in 1976. By 1976, things started to get difficult. The band's popularity began to drop. Some fans did not like the new sound they were creating. A writer for Rolling Stone magazine said people thought their music had lost its energy. Their albums Open Sesame, The Force, and Everybody's Dancin' did not sell as well as their earlier records. The band later admitted they tried too hard to change their sound, and it did not feel natural. Robert Bell said they became too fancy and over-creative and moved away from the music style that made them famous. Because of this, they did not get as many shows and were not performing as often. With fame came money. With money came access to a whole lot of bad stuff. Some members had serious struggles with drugs and alcohol. These problems made it hard for the band to stay strong over the years. Robert focused on his music and kept a low profile, but some of his bandmates had a hard time with addiction. The pressures of fame, touring, and success led some members to use drugs and alcohol. They thought it would help them cope with stress, but it only made things worse. One key member, Kool The Gang, who was once called Charles Smith, struggled a lot with substance abuse. He was one of the main creative forces in the band. His talent helped shape the group's sound, but as the band became more famous, he found it hard to handle the pressure. In interviews, he admitted that drug use affected his creativity and personal life. He wanted to stay on top of his game, but addiction made it difficult. Because of these struggles, the band faced many problems. Addiction caused tensions between members. Some musicians had trouble performing, and others had conflicts because of drug-related issues. This made it hard to keep a steady group. Over time, some members left the band, and new ones joined. The lineup kept changing, which made things unstable. Addiction did not just hurt the people using drugs or alcohol. It also affected the whole band. It was hard to focus on making music when some members were struggling. Relationships suffered, and the band had to work harder to stay together. When someone was dealing with addiction, it affected everyone around them. The struggles with addiction were part of the band's long history. Many musicians face similar problems when they become famous. The pressure to always perform well, stay popular, and tour constantly can lead to unhealthy choices. Some artists recover, while others find it hard to escape addiction. Over the years, the band lost many of its original members. When Taylor left, other key members like Kool The Gang and Robert "Spike" Mickens also left. This affected the band's sound and performance. It was hard to keep the same energy without them.
They tried to resuscitate, bring him back. That was it. That quick.
Robert "Kool" Bell remembered these losses. In 2020, he was at home when tragedy struck. His brother, Ronald Bell, also known as Kool The Gang, passed away in September. Less than a year later, the band lost another founding member, saxophone player Dennis Thomas. These were painful losses for Bell. He knew how important they were to the group. Bell said it was not easy. He kept thinking about all the members they lost over the years. Charles Smith, the guitarist, died in 2006. Robert "Spike" Mickens, a trumpeter, left in 1984 and passed away in 2010. Larry Gittins, another trumpet player, died in 2013. Clifford Adams, a trombonist, died in 2015. It was sad to lose so many original members.
And then 15 months later, you guys lost Dennis Thomas, another founding member of the group.
Yeah, it's only two of us left, right? George Brown and myself.
Even with these losses, the band kept going. They brought in new members to keep the music alive. Some of these new members had already been with them for 25 years. Bell believed that old and new members could work together. He stayed positive and kept the band moving forward. In 2015, Robert "Kool" Bell spoke about the legal fight over the song "Blurred Lines." A court said that Robin Thicke and Pharrell Williams copied Marvin Gaye's song "Got to Give It Up." The jury ordered them to pay $7.3 million to Marvin Gaye's family. Bell agreed with the decision. He believed "Blurred Lines" sounded too much like Marvin Gaye's song. He thought it was clear that they copied the style and groove. Bell shared his opinion just before performing at a festival in Dubai. He was set to perform right after Thicke at the event. Bell said he was not surprised that the case ended in a guilty verdict. He said that when he first heard "Blurred Lines," he immediately thought it sounded like "Got to Give It Up." He believed Thicke and Pharrell should have known they would face legal trouble.
Even though the court ruled against them, Thicke and Pharrell planned to appeal. They had already made millions from the song. Blurred Lines was a massive hit in 2013. It sold over 14.8 million downloads. Each artist earned around $5 million from the song. Bell, however, did not feel sorry for them. He said the similarities were too obvious to ignore. He believed that Marvin Gaye's family deserved to be paid. At the Dubai Festival, Bell was surprised to learn that his band, Kool The Gang, would close the event instead of Thicke. He did not expect to be the final act. He laughed when he was told and said it would be an exciting show. He was happy to perform outdoors again and looked forward to playing for the crowd. Bell knew a lot about music rights. His band's songs had been sampled many times. One of their hits, Summer Madness, from 1974, was used by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince for their 1991 song, Summertime. But unlike Blurred Lines, they were paid for it. Bell believed artists should respect older music and give credit when it is due. Talking about Summertime Madness, in 1974, the song Summer Madness was released. It was a smooth and relaxing instrumental song. Many people loved its soft and dreamy sound. Over the years, different artists used parts of the song in their own music. This is called sampling. One of the most famous samples came in 1991. Because they used Summer Madness, the original creators received royalty payments. This means they got money whenever Summertime was played or sold. Many people talked about how Summer Madness influenced hip-hop and R&B. It showed how older music could be used in new ways. In 1983, the song Joanna was released. It was a soft and emotional love song. Before this, the band that made it was known for funk music. Funk was upbeat and full of energy. Joanna was different. It was slower and sounded more like pop music. Many people loved it, and it became a big success. It played on the radio and climbed the music charts. Some fans, however, were not happy. They felt the band had changed too much. They wanted the old funk sound back. Even though Joanna was popular, it started debates among fans. Some thought the band was trying to appeal to a larger audience. Others believed it was just part of growing as musicians. Kool The Gang started by playing as an opening act for a jazz night every Sunday at a local theater. They performed with famous jazz musicians like McCoy Tyner, Pharoah Sanders, and Leon Thomas. At first, they went through different names, calling themselves the Soul Town Band, and later, the New Dimensions. They played Motown songs as backing musicians for Soul Town, a small music group in Jersey City. In 1967, the band became regulars at the Blue Note Lounge in Jersey. One night, an MC introduced them as Kool and the Flames. However, their manager, Gene Red, warned them that the name sounded too close to James Brown's band, the Famous Flames. To avoid confusion, they changed their name to Kool The Gang. After choosing their final name, they signed a record deal with Delight Records, the label owned by their manager. Red believed in their talent and thought they had the potential to be very successful. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.